turns out that more people have received cancellation notices for their health care plans this month than have enrolled in the exchanges.
To the millions of Americans who have attempted to use healthcare.gov to shop and enroll in health care coverage, I want to apologize to you that the website has not worked as well as it should. This tremendous interest confirms that American people are looking for quality, affordable health care coverage. This initial experience has not lived up to our expectations or the expectations of the American people, and it is not acceptable.
Testifying before the House Ways and Means Committee today, the head of the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Marilyn Tavenner, she apologized, as you just heard, for the rough launch of healthcare.gov, but says the site is improving day by day. Now, she's been the administration official closest to the rocky launch of healthcare.gov, and during testimony today, she conceded that some people with individual health coverage will be forced to get new policies because of new requirements under Obamacare. That concession, a huge blow to the administration, which had often said that if you like your plan, you can keep it. Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, she's going to be on the hot seat tomorrow. So we've got two issues that are facing the administration right now. The NSA, which we'll get to next segment, and Obamacare. How they're handled is a direct reflection, many will argue, on the president's leadership, and how much he will own these developing stories will say a lot for us. And let's begin with Obamacare, and let's bring in our panel. Dominic Carter, who you met before, political journalist and author. Chris Shays, former Connecticut congressman and distinguished fellow in public service at the University of New Haven.
Why do you always laugh
I love distinguished. It's not just a fellow. He's distinguished. And Jonathan Uden, Democratic consultant with the Advance Group and a former executive director for the Kings County Democratic Party. Gentlemen, thank you. Okay. Jonathan, I put it to you first. They say we'll get our act together by November 30th here when it comes to Obamacare, that everything's going to be rolling smoothly. Give us a month. Do they have a month? What do they tangibly have to show the public and Congress without this thing getting out ahead of them?
Yeah,
even more than it is.
I think you have a month. You saw they extended the deadline to the end of March. I think by the end of November, you'll see the administration has learned from their mistakes. They realize how massive an undertaking this project was, and you'll see it start to get a lot better. I mean, again, you have a lot of time. I mean, most people that go on and have been successful have seen them get coverage in 24 to 48 hours. So it's not like this is a drawn-out process. The process, as it should be, done, should only take 24 to 48 hours. So the administration will get it up at the end of November, and people have plenty of time before the end of March deadline to sign up.
Do you forecast the bigger problem for the administration here getting their act together in 30 days, or that as people learn about the program, again, their big hurdle is it's not getting people with pre-existing conditions, right? Or not getting people without insurance. It's getting people, young, healthy people here to say, wait a second,
Listen,
I thought this was going to cost me less.
I think
now I got to go in my pocket for more. It doesn't work without them.
The administration will take a page out of their campaign playbook. They've been masters at getting young people to vote and do all these things, motivated. They have to do that again here with healthcare.gov. They have to go onto college campuses, go to new businesses that are forming, Silicon Valley and all,
but Jonathan,
social media,
I
Twitter.
get that when you're trying to get somebody involved in the campaign to either vote
but
or
again,
to hold
the option
now
is
they got to go in their pocket.
The option is get fined here, so they really don't have a choice. So it's an education campaign to try to get them on board. And I think as people realize the deadline is coming, they will sign up. They will see that they will be getting subsidies. You come right out of college, you don't have a job, you don't have a lot of income and all. There are going to be federal subsidies to help you pay for this mandate. And I think they'll use that, and I think they'll see, it's a good thing to have.
Congressman, if you were, you got your 15 minutes with, or 5 minutes, whatever they allot you for time now. Kathleen Sebelius, the HHS secretary, came before you. Would you focus more on the problems with the launch or the problems with the program?
It depends what she said. If she said we blew it, and this is what we're going to do to correct it, then you move on. If they denied that they've made mistakes, then you probe, okay, let's get back to reality. I love what Jack Kennedy did after the Bay of Pigs. He didn't blame anyone else. He didn't blame, former President Eisenhower for bad planning. He said, I blew it. This administration blew it. I've learned some lessons. We're going to do things differently. The real problem with the president's health care bill, which he calls Obamacare himself, is that in order to pass it, they had to make deals just with one party. And in order to get their 60 votes out of the Senate, they had to make some bad deals. So what people are going to find out is they've got good health care, they pay a penalty for having a good health care. If you don't have a health care plan that rises to the minimum standard of Obamacare, you lose that health care and you have to get something else. If you were uninsured and didn't want to be insured, now you pay a fine if you don't get insured. There are 3 different groups that are going to say, oh my God, I'm paying penalties here. And this is supposed to be something I want?
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, a lot of these plans that have been in existence were bad plans, and they were expensive plans, and people weren't getting what they should have been entitled to. What this does is it provides a minimum level of security.
What do you mean what they're entitled to? What they got is what they were willing to buy. They had some choices.
Jonathan, there was a perception, and I think somewhat promoted by the White House, that everybody's winners out of this program, which was, listen, nobody thought it was sustainable, 50, 60 million Americans without health insurance. I mean, you talk to anybody in the medical field, especially in the ERs, that's not a way to run a country, let alone a healthcare system. But the premise was, hey, not only are we going to help out the kids who got kicked off the healthcare plan before 26, not only are we going to help out those people that were on the edges of society that didn't have any health care, not only are we going to help out the people with pre-existing conditions that were getting the middle finger from the HMOs, et cetera, but everybody is going to be able to keep their plan if they like it, and we're going to even save you a few bucks potentially. Now, maybe people wanted to hear what they wanted to hear, but people went into this saying, well, fine, the right doesn't like big government here, tough on them. This is, in the end, going to stick at the HMOs, but it's going to help the average guy. I think some people are doing their math and saying, wait a minute, this isn't as great a deal as I thought. If I'm healthy, and if I wanted just a bare minimum, right? I didn't want anything more than that. They're making me pay for more to get more, I grant you, but they're making me pay for more.
To some degree. I think a lot of these plans are just better quality plans, and you forget the mandate forcing that insurance companies can only have a certain percentage of profits has already paid off over the past 2 years. I mean, a lot of consumers have seen their rates either go up just to the cap that the government allows it to go up, or some have even gone up less than that. And many at the end of the year are going to be getting rebates back for their plans because their plans have to have only a certain percentage, I think it's 20%, allowable towards overhead and profits.
Dom, do you think the president has to resell this, or it's baked in already? He's going to do constituency by constituency. Does he have to re-explain what the program is again, or no?
The president has to do something. This reminds me, Richard, but the first debate obviously didn't mean as much. This reminds me of his first debate that he had in Denver, Colorado, where he didn't show up and it was a bad night for him. Universally, it was a bad night.
Great night.
It was a great night for Mitt Romney. But I mean, this president, with this being his signature issue, I'm surprised at the rollout of this. I mean, it's looking like, it's making you look to Republicans and say, maybe these guys were on to something.
But
go ahead, I'm
but
sorry.
Come on, if this was Apple and it was the new iPhone and everybody tried to log on and they were all getting, busy wheels, and there's a system was crashing and stuff, everybody would be saying, buy Apple stock, this thing is going through the roof. They're getting the kinks fixed out of this, and they have a month to do so.
But this should have been tested in advance.
We learned today that a month before the rollout, they were told there was major problems in the system. That came out today. Forget that it's not ready for prime time. I'm starting to think that the bigger problem with this is not the glitches at launch, but some of the realities that people are going to have to pay more, and forgetting their politics, people don't like to spend money. And even if they get more for it, they still don't like to spend money if money's tight.
Some people should be given the right to buy a plan that has a large deductible, and some should be given the right to get a plan that has a small deductible. There should be choices. I would be arguing to my own Republicans that you're not going to repeal Obamacare. We need now as a country to figure out how we can make it work better. You've got to basically be able to deal with tort reform, in other words, the large suing. You've got to ask, why do labor unions not pay a penalty for their really good plans when everyone else does. You've got to ask why federal employees don't pay a penalty when everyone else does. Why congressmen don't pay a penalty when everyone else does. These are the things that we should have an honest conversation about.
And medical device tax, one of
And
the
I
other
would,
things.
and I would agree. Absolutely, I would agree. And I think now that it is the law of the land, these are the types of things to make it better, just as we've made many laws over the years better.
Question is, will the president have the time for that? The smartest thing that happened today was she jumped on the grade and said, we screwed up, I apologize. I bet you we're going to hear more of that from Ms. Sebelius tomorrow. If not, she's in for a very, very long day. All right, coming up next, everyone. There is a spike in anger over the NSA spying program, while others say, where have you been? It's always been this way. Will spying on world leaders hinder our ability to work with other nations? We're going to get into that conversation right after this.